Welcome back to the Brewers franchise. As last time you saw Game 3 of the NLDS, the Brewers closed out their NL Central foe in the Cincinnati Reds and will now be moving on to the NL Championship Series to take on the 2019 World Series champions in the Washington Nationals. They ended up winning 100 games this past season, leading their division, and they took on the LA Dodgers, who were not as good as they were last year, still winning 97 games. And when the Nationals headed into the series for Game 1, they ended up winning by a score of 5-6 in what was a pretty close game that ended in a walk-off. In Game 2, however, the Dodgers stormed back, taking that one by a score of 10-5 behind a 5-run 10th inning. So it's basically been a pretty close series that usually falls whenever the bullpens enter the game. As for Game 3, the Nationals bounced back in LA by a score of 6-4 in what was a pretty early scoring game. The bullpens kind of calmed down in that one. In the final game, Game 4, the Nationals closed out the series by a score of 3-0 as they were led by a complete game shutout from Stars pitcher Steven Strasburg. And just like that, for the second straight year, the Nationals beat the Dodgers in the playoffs as they now move to face the Brew Crew, the same team that this Nationals team beat in last year's wildcard game. However, things are different now. Now we have Christian Yelich back. As for the rotation and the lineups for the Nationals, the rotation is basically going to be led by their three main guys in Patrick Corbin, Steven Strasburg, and Max Scherzer, as the rest of the rotation isn't nearly as promising. They're going to have to rely on those three main starters to basically go 7+ innings and have great games every time. As for their bullpen, it's not very great there either. Their long relievers is Roenis Elias. Their middle relief guys are Wander Suero, who hasn't been great thus far, Ren Harper and Tanner Rainey, who both have been pretty half-decent in their limited innings. As for their setup guys, Austin Voth and Will Harris have gotten rocked, to say the least, and even then, that's a major understatement, though they haven't pitched more than one inning, either of them, so maybe with a bigger sample size, they'll do better. As for their closer, it is the former Oakland A, Sean Doolittle, who has pitched pretty well in his limited appearances. As for their lineups, however, against right-handed pitching, leading off is going to be the speedy shortstop Trey Turner, then right fielder Adam Eaton, before the young stud Juan Soto, and then in the cleanup role, it's going to be the power hitter first baseman Eric Thames. In the 5-hole, it's going to be the second baseman Howie Kendrick, who's being used more for his bat than anything else. 6th is going to be the third baseman Starlin Castro, and 7th is the rangy center fielder Victor Robles, and last but not least, the catcher Yan Gomes will be batting 8th. As for left-handed pitching, the only major changes are that Howie Kendrick is going to be leading off, cleanup is going to be Trey Turner, as Thames is going to be moved to the bench, and veteran Ryan Zimmerman will take over first base. And that's it for the Washington Nationals. As for the Brewers, I did not feel the need to make any changes to our pitching rotation and our batting lineups. I felt that they were fine as they were, as we did sweep the Cincinnati Reds. If we recall back to that series, we won Game 1 by a score of 8-5 in what was a pretty dominant showing for us down the stretch. Game 2 was a bit of a closer game for us. We won 5-3 in what was a really good appearance for Brett Anderson, one of our better pitchers. He continued his dominance in the playoffs. And then in Game 3, of course, we know the home run derby that it was. We just blew them out of the water 15-6. But that's it for this episode of the Milwaukee Brewers franchise, the NLCS preview. In the next episode, you guys are going to be greeted with Game 1 of the NLCS, and then we're going to maintain the same format of playing Game 1 and then all of the elimination games. So, thank you all for watching. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel. It really helps me out around here as I'm trying to grow, get my own little platform. But anyways, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.